Hello guys, it's me, Matto, and in this video I'll be talking about the 3.0 story in Honkai Star Rail. Now, I've always loved the HSR story, ever since the beginning. Ever since Herda Space Station, I have loved everything about it. Then we got to the Shanzhou and that kind of changed my opinion about it, but that's besides the point. Now, why am I saying this? Well, it's because the new story hasn't really impressed me all that much, and I really want to just make this video to kind of showcase what's wrong with the storytelling that they have put out here. It isn't the best, and I want to show all the issues that I have with it. Now, this is a personal opinion, but I think most people will agree when I say that it could be a lot better, especially from the presentation angle. There is a lot to be desired. Now, what's wrong with the presentation? There's almost none. We get a static picture of Aglia, we get a dark screen with text, and that's pretty much it. Then we get characters that are just standing around and looking at each other, not even moving. And then we have scenes where the characters move their arms. But those are all the points I will get into later. I think I should start with what I liked about the story. I think the start of the story was actually pretty good. I think they did very good with the start, the first hour or so. But that's the problem. After that, it just gets a lot worse with a lot of yapping, which is a problem. And the fact that it is almost 10 hours is just criminal. I feel like they should have cut it a lot to make it more digestible. Because you really got to think about it. We will have like 7 more story patches. And if they all take this much time, then it's going to be an issue. Because I think everyone, even the story enjoyers like myself, will get bored with it. Now, over the course of the story, it just kind of delved into excessive dialogue without much substance. Basically, what I mean by this is that they just yap about the same stuff over and over, and it's almost like they make fun of us. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that, right? So we were talking with Finan, and Danhang mentions that his answers are too concise. And he says, I guess I'm not good at telling stories, right? And before this point, really, Finan didn't really have that many long lines, which, you know, it makes sense with his character. He didn't really speak in long lines and whatever, it was just pretty short and to the point at this point. Later, his character devolved into having yap and yap and yap, but that's besides the point. Anyways, Tribi responds to that, a tedious and overly long explanation isn't ideal either, and it's almost like they're aware of what they're doing, almost. And the next point that I really hated was when we had the little spirit, the bath spirit, basically tell us the story of Amphoreus. Then we get an option to sort of get a new narrator, and you cannot even, you know, listen to the old guy all the time. You just have to get a new narrator, and it is a bit crazy. So after they force you to have the new guy, it's basically like, oh, you don't like how the story is told? Okay, I'll change the narrator. And then it changes to a baby voice. What the fuck? Like, why? Why is this a thing? I don't get it. It was stupid. It's almost like they're making fun of us. Which I really hate, because I used to love the storytelling in HSR in the early days, of course, but here's one of the biggest issues, right? Show, don't tell. What does HSR do? They tell and don't show. Okay, the problem is, right, I wouldn't really have such a big issue with it if we had more unique animations and stuff like that, but we don't, okay? We have had about 5-10 second cutscenes or so. You know, there was one that was like 30 seconds, which is great, okay, we need more of that. But other than that, that was all in the beginning. And then it's like 6 hours without anything, and then at the end we have like 2 cutscenes. Why? It's like, if they sprinkled the cutscenes over the whole story, it would probably be better by a fair bit, because it's a good storytelling device to have cutscenes, you know, and you cannot say that it's because of the mobile limitations. You know, mobile players, they can remove the fucking cutscenes from the game. They have the option to remove past resources, so it's not like, you know, they can't take up too much space with the cutscenes. No, they can make fucking 10-minute cutscenes. Who cares? Just look at Yakuza, they had an hour-long cutscene. Okay, that probably wouldn't be good for the game either, but you get my point. They can make longer cutscenes, they don't have to make them short as fuck. Basically, they rely on dialogue a little bit too much, to the point where it gets boring, and it's just a yap fest, okay? It's a yap fest, and when you have so much yapping, you you start losing yourself in the dialogue. I mean, I've read every single thing they said, but I barely understand what they're saying. Okay, here's the thing. You know, we have had Shaoji, is that his name? The guy who wrote for Honkai 3rd. And apparently he makes a lot of death, so I was very excited for Penacony. Yet, the Penacony death was just okay. The characters didn't even die. Sure, it was a nice fake out, but you knew you knew they would just come back. They always do, okay? But it was so obvious. Even the whole Firefly thing, yo, she has a sad backstory. You know, it was so obvious from that point on that she's just going to die. It's going to be a fake out, and it's so annoying, okay? And apparently, oh, Shaoji, he makes good stories, he kills the characters. We haven't had a single death in Amphoreus. I doubt we will. I don't think they're going to kill off playable characters unless they're 4 stars, which doesn't matter anyways. I just kind of wish they would have returned the old writers, so like for Belobog. I think the Belobog story was good, and the Herda Space Station, that was pretty good. A pretty good intro to the game. And then in the Shanjo, okay, I'm not gonna really talk about that one. You know, the beginning was kind of ass, and the only good part really was with the Fei Shao thing. But I feel like even that dragged on quite a bit, but at least it wasn't 10 hours long, and it had a conclusion. It was pretty fine. There were some good moments. But in Amphoreus, it's just a bunch of yapping, and at the end you have a pretty cool moment. And yeah. Now, my next issue is the fact that we will have 7 parts of the story. 7 parts. I already mentioned this a little bit before, but 7 parts is insane. If every single part is 10 hours long, I think everyone will lose the interest in the game's story. I don't think it's going to be debatable at that point. Even if they make the lore amazing, I think 10 hours is insane. If the whole story was like 20 hours long in its entirety, spread across 7 patches, then I think it could work. It wouldn't feel so convoluted and long. I'm not really sure where they're going with this. Like, I like the concept of killing gods and stuff, but I have no clue what they are going to do with it and what is going to be the payoff. In the end, it doesn't make much sense to me. And I think I'm probably going to forget about pretty much everything that happened before. If every single update is going to be 10 hours long, it is just going to be a bit rough. And this is the first quest I fell asleep to. Yup. I was playing it and it got so boring that I literally snoozed a little bit. So, yeah. I really like the concept of Amphoreus. I think it is a really cool concept. I like the Greek sort of inspiration, the Greek gods, whatever. I really do like that. And I feel like they could do a lot more with that concept. I have a feeling that it's just going to be a fragmented plot over the next updates. It's not going to be connected to each other, and hopefully it is all connected pretty nicely and neatly, but I am really worried about it. I really am, and yeah, the 2.6 story didn't help with that, with the whole banana shit. What the fuck was the point of that? Genuinely, what the hell was the point? Why did we just have bananas and stuff? Like, they could have just not had that quest. It would have made Penacony a lot better, but it just kind of ruins the reputation for Penacony even more, which I don't think Penacony was all that good anyways. I think like the first act was good of Penacony, but the last one was kind of ass, I'm gonna be real. But yeah, the monkey stuff, useless. We should have just had a story quest that explained Rappa's backstory, and that I think would have been more than enough. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping this up. So, one of the issues I have with the storytelling are the animations. We don't have many animations for movement, and even when the characters do move, it feels stiff if it's not a cutscene. It feels stiff and robotic. But then again, this is an issue in Genshin as well. And yeah, I think they should fix it. I mean, it is 3.0 for God's sake. Like, it has been long enough for them to kind of improve upon these concepts, I guess. It's a bit insane that not much has improved in that regard. I mean, I think most people at this point play it for the story. At least that's what they are excited for and want to see. I feel like with how much money Hoyo makes, they should just allocate more budget to the story. Because it's painful to see the way it is. I mean, we have black screens with text not showing us what's happening because they are too lazy to make animations for it. So, as a summary to this whole video, I think they should just cut the filler, make the story a bit shorter, better digestible, definitely. Less yapping, more showing. We need more cutscenes. Just look at ZZZ. ZZZ is a prime example of storytelling in gacha. I think ZZZ and Wuwa are the best in storytelling, both of them. You have scenes in ZZZ, right, where the characters are standing around, but there's few of them, okay? There are very few of them, and when you have characters talking to each other, it's in the style of a Zoom call. And yes, they are in the same spot. They're just standing around. But they have actual animations and they look like they are moving. Their characters have expressions, which they add to the immersion, which helps the storytelling in that game. And they have a shit ton of cutscenes, and not 5-second cutscenes. There are long cutscenes. And not to mention, the story in ZZZ isn't long. I mean, the recent quiz only took 3 hours to complete. It didn't even feel that long because it was, well, it was told in a great way with the comic books and stuff. A lot of cutscenes. That's the way they should do the stories. I think I yapped for long enough and I started repeating myself quite a bit in the video. It happens. I guess I got it from Honkai Star Rail, the whole yapping thing. But yeah, I'll probably make another video on Amphoreus as a review, like, of the whole patch in general. Probably not going to mention the story because I've already mentioned everything I didn't really like here. But yeah, I want to thank you for the support on the last video. It's insane to see it at 2,000 views. I really want to thank you guys. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, I want you to please subscribe. That would make me very happy. And leave a... If you enjoyed the video, of course, you don't have to. But if you did enjoy it, maybe consider that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.